Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to another episode of The Spread. I'm your host, Jim Sella, in studio with J-Dash and JK47. We got our Corked segment for you this week. We're going to talk about Aramis Ramirez and Jean Segura today, correct?
Yes. Both playing for the Brewers. Now, there's some talk that the Mets are looking into bringing them both in and trying to help this offense because the Mets are still in it. They're sitting at 45 and 42 right now. And really, their problems are on the road. They're 30 and 14 at home, but they're 15 and 28 on the road. But still, they're in second place in the NL East, just 2 games behind the Nationals, and 2 games behind the Cubs for the last wild card spot. So they're definitely still right in it. Now, their pitching, like 47 and I have been saying, they have a great pitching staff. Even though Steven Matz has just went to the DL, they still have enough pitching, and they've let up the 4th least runs in the NL with 307. The biggest problem with the New York Mets, like 47 mentioned earlier this season, is their offense. They've scored the 2nd least runs in the NL with just 301.
Beat nuts.
David Wright's practically been a ghost this year. Travis d'Arnaud, I mean, he's been good whenever he's played, but he hasn't played that much.
I never knew that guy was any good.
This isn't Chase d'Arnaud, man. Chase d'Arnaud is the one to play for the Pirates. Travis d'Arnaud was a top prospect.
Actually, isn't he his brother or something?
Yeah, it's his brother.
Well, if he's related to him, then he's garbage. Sorry, buddy.
Listen,
sorry, Travis.
Travis
Later.
is a beast, man. If he could stay healthy. Now, he's been injury prone all throughout the minor leagues, and he's shown it here in the big leagues, too. But when healthy, he hits. He has a 296 average with a 338 on base, 4 jacks, 17 RBIs, and just 71 at bats. So he's going to be coming back sometime after the All-Star break, and he's going to be a big help to this offense because right now there's, with prospect Kevin Plawecki and Johnny Monell, and that's just not going to get it done right now.
Beat nuts.
Whatever, man. At first base, they have Lucas Duda, who's been a big letdown for him, at least in the power department. Now, a 242 average with a 344 on base, that's kind of what you're going to expect out of him. But just 11 home runs and 302 at-bats. This is a guy that has 40 home run type power.
Not this year.
No, just 37 RBIs. But, again, they're good. This is going to be a guy that they're going to stick with. They're not going to try to upgrade Lucas Duda. And then you got second base. They just moved Wilmer Flores over to second base because he was playing shortstop most of the season. And though he's been hitting well, a 256 average with 10 jacks, he really can't play shortstop. So they moved him over to second base. And while Wright's hurt, Daniel Murphy moved over to third base. But again, Murphy hasn't really been himself either.
Mets are hurting all around.
Look, he's still hitting 276, which isn't bad, but just 4 home runs. He has a little bit more power than that. 29 RBI, 17 runs. He's not really producing in the counting stats. And this is why they're thinking about bringing Aramis Ramirez over. Now, like I was saying, Wilmer Flores had to move over to second base. They're playing Ruben Tejada at shortstop. He's a much better shortstop than Flores defensively, but he has no offense. He's a 236 hitter, 318 on base, just 1 jack, 13 RBIs, 18 runs, and 178 at-bats. And really, he's been around for a few years, and this guy just really isn't supposed to be a starter. And their outfield kind of stinks too, man. They got Michael Kadire, who played for the Colorado Rockies last season, had a big season for him, and they expected big things coming over to the Mets this season, but just hitting 244 with a 294 on base. A little bit of pop, still 7 home runs, but again, no counting stats, 29 RBIs, 33 runs. So nothing from Kadire. Granderson might be their best hitter still, unfortunately for them, hitting 244 with a 342 on base. He has 13 jacks already this season, though, so he's showing some power.
Only 29 runs batted in, though.
Yeah, please believe. And the 43 runs isn't too bad, though. 5 stolen bases, that's actually one of the better numbers on the team. Juan Lagares leads the team with 6 stolen bases, so they need to find some speed in this lineup as well. They're not doing anything on the base pass. And speaking of Juan Lagares, he's one of the best defensive outfielders in baseball, probably the best. But he can't hit. Hitting 260 with a 288 on base, 3 jacks, 25 RBIs, 32 runs. He has speed, but he just doesn't show it on the base pass. I mean, 6 stolen bases, he's probably going to get over 10 for the season, but they need to get more out of this guy. Then they got Dilson Herrera, the 21-year-old second base prospect. Now, he hasn't been shown too much this season in limited time. 82 at-bats. He's hitting just 195 with 2 home runs. He's going to be a good player. He spent some time on a DL and whatnot, but he's going to be a good player eventually. But they're in a playoff race now, and it doesn't look like he's quite ready. So they're trying to bring in a couple guys here. One guy they can bring out in for the outfield is prospect Michael Conforto. He's just 22 years old and just in Double-A right now, but he's crushing, hitting .312 with a .394 on base. Doesn't have too much pop or too much speed, but he's just a pretty good hitter overall. Now, do I think he's going to succeed and really, really help this team? Probably not. I mean, he's probably going to have his struggles. He could be an upgrade in the outfield still, but he's not going to be a game changer for him or anything. But he looks like he's going to be a pretty decent player, and they do look like they're going to bring him up eventually. That was their 2014 first-round pick. That's a little ridiculous. See, they're pushing him a little too fast, and they're not really giving him a chance to succeed in my mind. But listen, this offense is struggling so bad, they may need to call this guy up a little too quick, and hopefully they give him a little bit of offense. We did a prospect check on shortstop Matt Reynolds a long time ago, and they haven't called him up yet. If they don't want to give this guy a chance, he looks like he's going to be a pretty good baseball player. You got to trade him. Use him as trade bait or something. And he actually could be traded, and the Mets are talking about bringing in Justin Upton possibly for one. Now, that would be a big upgrade for their outfield. Do I think they're going to pull that off? Probably not. Two other guys they're talking about here are Aramis Ramirez and Jean Segura, like we were saying, from the Milwaukee Brewers. And really, like you said, 47, David Wright, you can't really trust him right now. He hasn't played at all this season. He got spinal stenosis. He's supposed to be back, but let's say he does come back, and he hit well when he was here for, 7 games or something. But let's say he does come back. He's not going to be an everyday starter. They're going to have to give this guy some rest. And Aramis Ramirez could be a nice guy, an excellent bat off the bench, and a nice guy to fill in with David Wright maybe. But you also got David Murphy, who is actually hitting a little better than Aramis Ramirez. I mean, Ramirez this season's hitting .233, has a .277 on base, although he's still showing some pop with 10 home runs and 17 doubles. So I don't know if he's really the right guy. I mean, I went and looked back at last season. He hit .380 in August last year, but he only hit .217 in September. So you really don't get anything from that. I'm just not sure Aramis Ramirez would fill in well with the New York Mets. What do you think?
Does he have any time beyond this year, or is this the last year of his deal?
He wants to retire after the season.
Okay,
so
then, I mean, F it, honestly. The Mets need a bat. They need somebody who can come in and put some power.
I mean, he's going to cost them some money, and he's not giving you too much production. In April, you hit .214, May .239, June .216. Now in July, he's hitting .360, so maybe he is starting to turn it around.
Aren't the Brewers struggling?
Yeah, the Brewers.
Maybe he's just doesn't care because they're garbage, and he's just like, you know what, dude, I'm done.
I mean,
and if he goes to a team that has a shot, I mean, you've seen it happen before.
I have, but I have a hard time believing Aramis feels like that. I believe he's a Brewer at heart.
He's a Pirate. Screw that.
I don't believe that. I don't think he probably hates the Pirates.
Well, maybe if he'd have stuck around, he could have seen us win.
But look, you compare last season, he was a .285 hitter, had 15 jacks. Now, the power is up from last season, but the average and the on-base percentage are way down. And if you look through July 10th last season, he was hitting .282 with a .333 on base. So he's just not the same hitter. Do you believe? What would you do? You got David Wright, Daniel Murphy, and that's pretty much it right now. You're going to play Daniel Murphy at third until David Wright comes back. Would that be enough, or would you bring Ramirez in?
You know, it's hard to say. I mean, it all hinges on the health of David Wright. How are you going to get him back? And if you get him back, what kind of David Wright are you even going to be getting back?
Right.
And you got to look at this from one perspective with the Mets, too. I mean, they do have a surplus of pitching, and this is where that rumor comes into mind. I mean, say they're able to get Jean Segura from Milwaukee. But, I mean, in my mind, that's what you got to do. You trade away one of them young pitchers, and you solve your problem at shortstop right there. And you still got a slew of young starters to go anyway.
Yeah, speaking of Jean Segura, now this guy, he originally played for the Angels. He was sent to Milwaukee in the Zach Greinke deal in 2012. and he has time left on his contract. He has 3 years of club control left, all arbitration years, but it's still club control. So if the Mets were able to bring this guy in, he's a definite upgrade defensively at shortstop over Wilmer Flores. Now, Tejada might be a better shortstop, but Tejada also doesn't have the offensive upside that Jean Segura does. Although, I mean, Segura isn't a beast at the plate anymore. But in 2013, when he first came to the Brewers, he got off to a real hot start. In fact, at the All-Star break in 2013, he was hitting .325 with a .363 on base, 10 jacks with 19 stolen bases, and they did a player rater, and he was actually rated number 1 out of every player in Major League Baseball around the All-Star break in 2013. And then out of the All-Star break, he really fell off. He ended the season with a .294 average, just 12 jacks. He only hit 2 home runs after the All-Star break. Although his speed was still up, he stole 44 stolen bases that season. And at the end of the season, I mean, I'll take a .294 hitter at shortstop, give you double-digit pop, 40-plus stolen bases. That's huge. But in 2014, he couldn't pick it back up, hit just .246 with a .289 on base, 5 jacks, 20 stolen bases. In this season, he's hitting .274, a little bit better with a .305 on base. The power's still down, 3 home runs. And the stolen bases are down a little bit, just 12 stolen bases. But 12 stolen bases would be huge for the New York Mets right now. They have no speed whatsoever.
12 errors is a little disconcerting to me.
Yeah, his defense is getting worse from the past couple years.
Yeah, 15, 16, and now 12 already, and it's just about the halfway point?
But he is a better defensive shortstop than Wilmer Flores, like I was saying. So it's an upgrade defensively over Flores, a downgrade over Tejada, but the offense is an upgrade over Tejada, and Flores can still play second base.
That's like a tongue twister. You should make that a shirt. People might buy it.
Well, right now, Jean Segura in July is hitting .469. So he is on a roll right now, and I really believe this would be a good idea if they could bring Jean Segura in. Now, Milwaukee probably wants the world for him, and he's not the greatest hitter or defender in the world, so you might have to overpay to get him.
What about Mats? Dump him?
Nah, see, I wouldn't give up Mats for Segura, I don't think. Would you, 47?
See, here's the thing, okay, and this is what I think. If I'm New York, I honestly stay put and I play with what I have right now. And I'll tell you why. I'm not necessarily saying to throw this season away. But what I'm saying is, in New York, you're always a free agent away from getting yourself a potent bat. And plus, Bartolo Colon will probably more than likely be out after this season. I don't really see him pitching another season.
Well, you never know about the ageless wonder. How old is that dude, 40?
I want to say like 43.
Really? So you're saying stay put with the offense? Really?
If you can upgrade and it will be cheap for you, I think, definitely go for it.
The cheap one would be Aramis Ramirez, the cheap one to get, not the cheap one to pay. But Jean Segura would cost you a ton in terms of players, I believe. So you're talking about bringing in maybe someone more like Aramis Ramirez, where Jean Segura would help them a lot more long term. Maybe both of these guys aren't the right fit for him, though, and they should keep looking. Maybe push hard for Justin Upton in the outfield and help improve the offense that way or something.
Yeah, I hear the Padres are shopping Upton and Kimbrel.
Probably Kemp too. James Shields, I'm guessing, is going to be shopped.
Nobody's going to want Matt Kemp.
Well, if they paid a ton of his contract, somebody might take a look at it.
LA's already paid a big chunk of it.
Yeah, so you might have 4 teams paying on this dude's contract just for him to play for a couple bucks. So what's your final answer? Yes on Ramirez, no on Ramirez, yes on Segura, no on Segura. For the New York Mets, who have a terrible offense right now, they have a ton of pitching. They might run into some innings limits later in the season with all this young pitching. But if they can keep that staff together, you got to build on this offense somehow.
You got 20 days to figure it out, so...
20 days. So you're not jumping on Ramirez or Segura too quick.
You're going to wait?
Right
now, no. Right now, absolutely not.
I think I'd take a look at Segura at least and see if I don't have to overpay for him. I definitely wouldn't overpay for him, but he is young enough where he can still show those 2013 numbers. Maybe he hasn't broken out yet, and that was a little bit of what's to come for him. I don't know. Segura, he's a definite upgrade. I just wouldn't give up the system for him.
Bartolo Colon is 42 years old.
Old as balls.
Well, that wraps it up. Thank you guys for coming in studio. Thank you, fans, for listening. Fans, you can follow us on Twitter at bet_the_spread. You can follow me on Twitter at betjimtowin. Check out the website at thespreadnews.simplesite.com. Go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/betthespread. Like us there. Check out our YouTube page and keep on subscribing.